I know that this place evolved slowly and over time, but do you kind of have a set of goals that you started out with regards to like the kind of food that you wanted to provide?
My goals were always to provide homemade food with the cleanest ingredients possible. My original goal was to go organic, but I'm organic in some things, but not everything at all. I wanted to support as local as much as possible, and yeah, just clean food.
What do you mean by clean?
I guess for me, like, clean food to me is homemade food, because if you buy something in a package, it's got additives and coloring and all that stuff. Whereas if you even if you're still making a cookie, but you're using butter and flour and sugar, and you know what you're putting in it, and there's no additions. Some people would say, oh, well, that cookie has to have pure cane sugar and whole wheat flour, and like to that extreme. Whereas I'm saying, just as long as it's clean in the sense of it's just, you know what's going in it kind of thing. I do try to, like, I'll look at my herbs and spices and make sure there's no additional things added to them. Like cinnamon, for example, can have some weird stuff in it. And so I try to like look for those things. I try to use brown sugar as much as possible, but some recipes you just can't use it because it's too moist. And cane sugar, I just haven't found a really cheap source of it. And the amount of sugar we go through is like a lot. So yeah, so that would be my clean food, is when you're seeing every ingredient go in and it's on every bottle or bag, it's one ingredient kind of thing.
Cool. And as far as what you're saying about organic, like what, do you have a percentage of stuff that you know approximately how much stuff is organic?
I guess it's a very small. Most of our beverages are natural, because there's differences there too. In the summer, for example, we get, I could say it'd be a bigger percentage because we get a lot of our greens and stuff like that from organic local farmers. So in the summer, we probably are higher in organic, but during winter we're pretty low. I do an order from I guess to give you numbers, I kind of have to do the math on it. I order from an buying group in town that does all natural foods and stuff like that, and we get all our drinks through them, our quinoa, our broth. What else do we get? But yeah, so I'd say in the summer our produce turns organic, whereas in the winter it's not organic. So
what's the name of that group? The buying group?
I think it's just Kamloops Organic. No, I don't know. It's a good question, Mark. I think it's just the Kamloops Organic Buying Club. And what happens is because when you order wholesale, you get cheaper than you would at the store, obviously. But a lot of distributors have a minimum that you have to order. So most people can't. Like for this, you have to order a minimum $1,000. Well, no one can do that. So everyone's kind of come together, and some people spend, $50, some people spend $500, and then the order gets dropped off at the smorgasbord, and then everyone comes and picks it up.
Okay, so they're distributing it.
Yeah. So it's the same people like Nature's Fair uses.
Okay.
For a lot of their product, for delivery is what we're using. So the truck drops it off as a $1,000 order kind of thing.
And so with like what you're saying about the organic, would that be similar with the amount of local stuff as far as like summer and winter?
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm just looking into my dairy going organic, or going more local with my dairy. But like right now what I do is I order once a week from a food company, and then I get all my food from them, like all my groceries. And then currently we go to Fratelli's Foods, and we buy all our produce from Fratelli's. We buy all our produce, all our cheese. So for me, a lot of their stuff isn't local. A lot of it is, but a lot of it isn't, depending on the season. But to me, I'm buying from another little local business. So whether they've bought local, I'm not saying it's not important, but to me, I look at the value in supporting another business by purchasing our produce from them, kind of thing.
Rather than like a big grocery store kind of thing.
Yeah. And for me, like the company I use is a very large company, but that's just kind of the nature of the game when you got to order.
Cisco.
Yeah.
Cool. Have you found that there have been like adaptations that you've had to make like that? Like things that you would like to do ethically but you're just under these constraints?
Yes, totally. Just prices. If I went organic on most of my food, my prices would go up significantly. And maybe for a place, maybe like a city like Vancouver, they could have an organic cafe and there's enough people to support an organic cafe. But what I'm seeing in Kamloops so far is if you don't appeal to the masses, you might not make it. So for me, I tried to create food. I kind of had to reset, like, what's the most important thing to me? And the most important thing to me is to build a place where all types of people can come to create community. And I feel like if our price point gets any higher, we cut out a portion of that. Portion of society almost that can come here. So for me, I just had to relook at what is, and someone else might have said, no, the most important thing to me and my morals and who I am is to have organic, completely local food. And that's great, but for me, that's not who I am, and this business needs to reflect who I am and what I believe, and my strongest belief is community. And so for me, I had to ditch some of the organic, some of the local, to be able to have a price point that a student can come who's on a limited budget, but also people who aren't will come as well and know that they can get an affordable lunch. So, I mean, I'm not saying we're low, but we're in I think we're in a good range where we attract all types of people. And we also have a variety of things that people can get to support whatever budget they have. So, yes, I have adjusted. Like when I first opened, everything had to be organic, as much as I could local. And I mean, the other thing with local is it's a lot more organized. Like you have to be more organized, I would say, because you're buying from so many different people. Whereas right now I sit down once a week for 1 hour and I order, and then it comes the next day to my door, and it's the greatest thing ever because it's all there. And for the amount of things I have to deal with, that is a huge gift in itself. If you're buying all local from different people, like when I buy from the farmer's market, you're ordering kind of twice a week. You're having to call the night before. Sometimes they drop it off. Sometimes you have to go get it. We do it in the summer, and it's getting better and better. But it's definitely, it's just not as simple.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, if I had 4 people running this place, and that's what I'm hoping is once we get more people who are more, it's not just me, then we can maybe look at ordering more from different people and looking at it more closely, kind of thing, like the milk, like just trying to figure out local milk places that will deliver as well. So
awesome. What was the date of opening? I know it's been about 2 years.
It was August of 2009. It's been 3.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to what you're saying about, like, so you were so hardline about that food stuff back when it was smaller at the beginning. Like, what's that process been like for you personally in making those kinds of decisions about the food?
At first it was really hard. I felt like I was selling out. I felt like I was, because I remember I used to work at Nature's Fair and I would see certain decisions made there and I would walk right into the office and be like, you can't do that, that's not natural, that's not organic. And I must have been a huge headache for them because I was like, I found a relish that was on the floor that had sulfites in it and I just lost it. I was just like, you can't put sulfite, like, so I was very hard-lined that way. So personally, I think for me, how to word this, I guess I spent a lot of years being so streamlined in one belief. Not one belief, but all my beliefs were just like, it was 100%, this is what it was, there's no wavering. And I'm not just talking about food beliefs, I'm talking about, social things and corporations, all these things that had this like very stern view, and hated Starbucks and hated Walmart and just rah rah rah. And I think for me over the last couple of years, realizing that if you think of it on an energetic level, it's like my hands are clenched because I'm angry, I'm frustrated, and I'm not saying it's not good to be passionate or to strive for change, but I felt like I could bring more to this community, more to this planet or whatever, if I just came from a place of just more freedom and more love, I guess. So with that small example of the food, when I started changing that, I was thinking I was like this horrible person and like I'm selling out and I'm just like everybody else and blah blah blah. But again, back to what I was saying before, I realized what was important to me, and I wasn't, the fear was of other people judging me that I'd switched what I believed. Whereas when people come in here, the amount of people that ask if it's local or organic is very minimal, and they're more asking like, is it homemade, and they're absorbing the energy of the space and that they can sit on the couch and eat this food that everyone's put effort into. And so I feel almost, I don't feel like I've sold out. I just feel like I've just let go of it and I'm doing what I can, and I haven't given up on it. I keep looking for avenues to support, like now we get our eggs locally. Well, we can't get all of them because we need a lot, but we get as many eggs locally as we can, and then the rest we have to get from our distributor. But I can get free range eggs, so okay, I can do that. So it's like all these little steps I try to take, and someone just told me about somewhere that they sell sugar cane really cheap. Okay, I'm going to look into that. If I can do it, I will. But I'm just taking it, I guess, slower and not being so stressed about it, and just trying to make improvements where I can. And even getting our syrups in for our coffee. Okay, well, I searched out which ones have just pure sugar cane and not glucose, fructose, all that, and you get them in, and all of a sudden there is glucose. Okay, so you just restart. So I think it's just having patience with yourself and trying your best without beating yourself up over it. So, yeah.